Oh, hi there, everybody. It's MJ from Alta Love and Alta Love TV. I'm literally just sat here feeling into like the workflow that I do and really wanting to say thank you to everybody who joins me here on Instagram and YouTube. I am I'm an intuitive, so I like flow with the intuitive energies, and I do basically Alta Love as a brand is going through some changes, and I just want y'all to know that it's been super duper fun. And yeah, just, you know, if you want to stay in touch, feel free to go to altalove.com. You can buy some merchandise. At altalove.com is where you can book these readings and yoga and any of the other services and products we provide. And yeah, just remaining open to sort of shapeshift the guidance. Okay, I'm pulling cards for you guys, so let's see what we get. So this is a bit of a turnaround. I seem to recall yesterday, or there's definitely been some tricky energies, right? Like some difficult stuff coming up. The Lover's energy is right in the middle, and that feels, I always want to empower the individual and say that this Lover's energy is about our ability to rise in ourselves in greater unity and wholeness, and like basically becoming more whole through love and self-love ultimately, right? And I feel this as it's a funny one here with the Seven of Swords or Seven of Wands and then the Nine of Swords. That's almost telling me like you're having to be really disciplined with your thoughts. I feel like this Nine of Swords, like that's like sleepless nights, a lot of anxiety, that's been going on for a while. It's in the reverse now, which is telling me like you are overcoming this, but the energy of these cards are saying, and you're working on it. You know, it's not been necessarily easy for you to just snap out of the anxiety or like snap out of having these dream recalls or whatever it might be. But you're super disciplined. That's what it feels like right now. You're being and this is about your own mind. Like you're being vigilant in your own mind with regard to how you're thinking about stuff. So that's really, really good. So I'm just going to grab some clarity. So we've started off with the Magician in the upright. That's a really positive energy. This feels just like a little bit of a caution. There's a whole bunch of sword energy. But what we have next to the Magician is the Eight of Swords. And for some reason, I am getting like just, you know, being mega responsible, making sure that you're like seeing everything clearly before jumping in. There is something about that with most of the signs in the astrology right now, that as Venus goes into retrograde, there is an element of like something we think, what we think something is initially isn't necessarily what it is. So the 2, 3, and the 4 of Swords has appeared, which is a progression. A lot of swords here, so there's a lot going on in the mind. There's really something over here about your ability to zoom out and see something from a different perspective, a broader perspective, because we've got the bees and the hummingbirds coming out to assist in the clarity. So it's giving me that feeling of like classic when we're in it. It's like often when we are it, when we're in the pattern. It's that classic thing of often through our observing other people, we learn stuff about like, you're just doing the same thing over again, and like, yeah, not. So something sticky in the situation, not as clear, not as clear as one might want it to be. And that there again, that's the energies. I feel like for some of you, you are endeavoring to penetrate or like grow some sort of creative project, okay? Yeah. Okay, so that's part of all this sword energy. And then this is part of how you're getting to this more Jedi-like vigilance in your mind of standing down some old way of thinking or some just being riddled with anxiety. That's what that feels like. So this is, even though it's sticky, okay, this is kind of some discomfort. There's a 3 of Swords. There's a lot of like, yeah, ooh. It's like you're feeling like you don't know how to trust people. But that's part of the Magician in the upright and these birds and bees that are actually saying, okay, just get out of the situation then if you cannot see it clearly. This is an energy like that expression of the Sabbath, and partly to do, again, with some of our astrological transits. That's why the Lover's energy is so vital in this reading, is that that's your energy of wholeness for you to stay anchored in your personal power. If you are in a relationship, you know, rather than going off into woe is me or kind of negative thoughts or I don't know or blah blah, just stay in the intimacy of that. Or if it's the relationship with yourself, stay in the intimacy of that and trust you'll be guided, and then you'll know as and when to speak your truth, to speak your mind. You're growing something. And again, I do get a sense that for some of you, this is you in a partnership, you in a family. You're growing something. You're growing a vision. You're growing. For some of you, this growth or expansion, it might actually even take you a little bit by surprise. Especially because I feel like for some of you, you have been in the mental, emotional shits. You really have been going through a bunch of Shazam. But part of the, like we know, like these tower moments or things that happen in our lives, death process is not comfortable, right? It's just that it's part of this human life, right? It's part of the dynamism of our human experience. So it is desired on some level, even when it's uncomfortable, right? But that is hands down, that's why that Lover's card is right bang in the middle and ushering you to just stay in that integrity of wholeness. That's another energy I'm getting. Like, endeavor to not be too distracted by like what other people are doing over there. And this, I do really, really feel that. Like, this is so much about, one, zooming out to give yourself an opportunity to grab a few different perspectives. But then and that's also part of that 8 of Swords, which is often like the prison in our own mind energy, is sometimes we don't even know we're in it. It's like Stockholm syndrome, but in our own mind. Like the majority of us or most of humanity, like we're like, we don't realize like we're in here. We're perceiving through this hala prison. And then once you realize that, then it's like, oh, intriguing. I wonder what kind of room I can create, i.e. world, right? By breaking out of like this, I can't do anything but shallow waters, right? That's also an element of the 8 of Swords, is like staying really shallow. Yeah, so it's like, don't be fooled by your own shitty thoughts, basically. And yeah, for some of you, this is also a little bit of an energy of maybe, being in a shitty pattern that you keep making this same, you keep and then choosing something, and does that make any sense? I don't know. Anywho, my loves, you there's this sort of do you guys like my toe? I just bought them. You know how these things happen sometimes. Well, actually, I have one of my amazing yoga clients has had reconstructive ankle surgery, and these sorts of things can be helpful. And this was in preparation. I must say she's healing extraordinarily quickly. But yeah, I'm just trying out these little things to like support the structure